Cyborg gets programmed for the 209, Souza refuses to be a loser, and the South African Hammer tries to nail down the submission magician. This is the Fight Network's preview of Strikeforce Diaz versus Cyborg. Hey there everybody, welcome to the Fight Network's preview of Strikeforce Diaz versus Cyborg coming up this Saturday night from San Jose, California. I'm your host John Pollock, and joining me in just a couple of minutes is our MMA analyst John Ramdeen as we break down this Saturday's card, which features two big title fights as Ronaldo Jacare Souza will defend his middleweight gold against Robbie Lawler, and in the main event, Evangelista Santos will look to add to the Cyborg mantle. In the main event Saturday night, 23-7 Strikeforce welterweight champion Nick Diaz returns to action following his unanimous decision win this past October over KJ Noons when he meets 18-13 Evangelista Cyborg Santos, who came down to 170 pounds last June and defeated Marius Saromskis to earn this title opportunity. Both men are undefeated in the Strikeforce organization.
Groundwork is not going to be the answer because Nick's got some of the best ground in the game right now, really well balanced there. Stand-up, Nick's got good stand-up too, so it's kind of a tough problem, catch-22 for him there. He's got good power in his strike, so if he could land one clean shot, which is the case in any fight, then that could be all she wrote. But other than that, I don't really see too much of an opportunity for him. Conditioning is going to be at a deficit, and I think technique-wise in all the other areas as well.
I think, with Diaz, is he's so good at picking people apart on the feet. His boxing is very underrated, and I knew that when I fought him too. Everyone, black belt jiu-jitsu, everyone always talked about his jiu-jitsu. And when I watched him fight, I seen him knock out Robbie Lawler. He dropped Sanchez. I mean, he's really good at finding the chin, and he's got power. I think that Diaz is going to be a tough guy to beat either way. He's really tall, he's really lanky, he's got great pinpoint accuracy, and he's got a lot of power. And if you take him down, he's one of the best jiu-jitsu guys I've ever grabbed onto. Very good jiu-jitsu, so there's really no strong advantage. He's got a great chin on top of that.
Certain things I can't do, I'm not going to do. If someone tells me to do it, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do what I want to do, and that's why I fight. I want to do what I want to do. I want to fight.
Oh my goodness, Denny in trouble. Diaz punches in bunches. Pow! And it's over. And the eruption begins.
He is one of the most exciting 170-pound fighters in the sport. He is Strikeforce welterweight champion Nick Diaz. The Stockton native is riding an 8-fight win streak, and in his most recent effort, he avenged the 2007 loss to KJ Noons.
And still champion, Nick Diaz.
Since entering the San Jose-based promotion, Diaz has come into his own and found his niche in the sport. The ever-improving Gracie pupil has managed to dispose of his opponents in impressive fashion.
He's got the choke, he's got him back, and he tapped him out, just like that. Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. Saromskis' legs are gone, they're absolutely washed.
Down goes Saromskis! Diaz is the Strikeforce welterweight champion!
In a second appearance for the Dream promotion, Diaz partook in a non-title bout with MMA pioneer Hayato Sakurai. The legendary Japanese fighter was dispatched by armbar submission, and in the process, Diaz added another impressive win under his belt.
Oh, the armbar! The armbar! It's trouble! It's goodbye, Irene!
With Diaz reigning atop the division, Strikeforce has found themselves in the position of searching for a suitable challenger.
Straight away, left and right from Santos, catching rear.
Standout member of the current Shooter Box Academy, Evangelista Cyborg Santos, has earned a reputation as an exciting brawler who possesses knockout power. Much like his wife and current women's Strikeforce middleweight champion Chris Santos, Evangelista's aggressiveness is an attractive characteristic of his fighting style.
Of strikes, both guys are not hitting. This is unreal.
This Cyborg seemed to have been recharged and ready for action upon dropping down to the welterweight division.
Com certeza, o Cyborg também é meu amigo, a gente treina junto, praticamente juntamente, é bem meu amigo também, faz tempão. E o Cyborg também é aquele lutador agressivo que todo mundo conhece, eu acho que ele estando num peso mais baixo agora vai ser muito melhor para ele. E eu acho que vai dar muito o que falar também o Cyborg, como já deu o que falar no mundo da luta.
Following the weight cut, he terminated Dream welterweight champion Marius Saromskis by TKO in the first round.
Cyborg stalking Saromskis, catching up with the left and right on the jaw, flying knee desperate, Saromskis is down, and Cyborg drops him like names at a Hollywood party. It's over, Cyborg wins his Strikeforce welterweight debut.
In the past, this war machine has failed to capitalize when given the opportunity to make a name for himself against better-known opponents. It will be the first time the Arena product challenges for a title, and it will be the toughest test of his career. It's a classic matchup of technical striker versus brawler, which promises to be a fan-friendly affair.
Ladies and gentlemen, John Ramdeen here to break down Strikeforce Diaz versus Cyborg coming up this Saturday night. The main event pits two Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belts against one another for the welterweight gold. Cyborg came down to 170 pounds last June, defeating Marius Zaromskis, earning the title shot right away. Do you feel it's deserved that he's getting this opportunity so quick down at 170?
Well, John, many people call Nick Diaz one of the top 10 welterweights in the world, and it's hard to argue that. The guy is extremely talented, he's durable, he has all the skills in the world, and I think Strikeforce was just kind of forced to put Cyborg in the main event because their welterweight division is very, very thin. But that being said, this guy has the perfect style to match up against Nick Diaz. People talk about Diaz's boxing, but they forget that he always forgets to defend his chin, and I think Cyborg, if one of those perfectly placed punches lands on Diaz's face, it could spell disaster. Takanori Gomi dropped him, KJ Noons dropped him, Marius Zaromskis dropped him, and if a guy with the power of Cyborg lands a good punch, it really could spell the end. But Diaz is just too durable, too strong, and the conditioning will definitely play a factor in this fight.
I agree. I think the longer this fight goes, obviously favoring Diaz, but I think that first round is going to be very interesting to see how Diaz combats that shoot-a-box style of offense.
Yeah, and again, we go back and we talk about the conditioning as well. For this fight, Cyborg was training with Rob Garcia, a longtime strength and conditioning coach of Oscar De La Hoya, and last year of BJ Penn. So I think he knows that he will be in tip-top shape. The guys from Arena getting Cyborg ready for 5 rounds, and again, that could also play a factor.
So is there the off chance we will see a new welterweight champion, or will Nick Diaz continue his undefeated role in the Strikeforce organization?
Again, anything can happen. If Cyborg lands the punch, it could be the end for Nick Diaz, but I think Diaz will be in tip-top shape. I think he'll put it on Cyborg, and in the end, probably tap him out somewhere in the 3rd or 4th round.
And then get your translator out for the post-fight Nick Diaz promo. The middleweight gold will also be up for grabs Saturday night as 13-2 champ Ronaldo Jacare Souza will step into the cage opposite 18-6 ruthless Robbie Lawler, who has stormed his way to this title opportunity following a 50-second knockout of Matt Lindland in December.
The Strikeforce middleweight title will be on the line when champion Ronaldo Souza meets heavy-handed hit squad disciple ruthless Robbie Lawler in a highly anticipated matchup. The multiple-time world BJJ champion Jacare has looked solid over his 16-fight career, using his slick submission prowess to vanquish many that stood in his way, including Bellator middleweight tournament winner Alexander Shlemenko and Team Quest Oregon leader Matt the Law Lindland. In August of this year, after former champion Jake Shields relinquished his title and left the company for the UFC, the Brazilian was paired with Army Ranger Tim Kennedy for the vacant 185-pound strap. The 31-year-old displayed an improved stand-up game using movement to avoid the well-rounded skills of his worthy opponent. After a competitive 5 rounds of action, the Manaus native was awarded the decision and the middleweight title.
He is now the Strikeforce World Middleweight Champion, Jacare Souza.
The Black House student is often overlooked when experts talk about the best fighters in the division, but that will all change if the judo black belt manages to retain his title with an impressive performance against the always exciting Robbie Lawler. The Granite City, Illinois-based fighter will look to use the granite in his hands to put away the evolving BJJ champion. After moving up to the middleweight category, the 28-year-old captured the Icon Sport and Elite XC straps by defeating Frank Trigg and Murillo Ninja Hua, establishing himself as one of the most feared strikers in the division. After producing a 7-2-1 record in his last 10 bouts, which included thrilling encounters with Matt Lindland and a come-from-behind victory against Dutch destroyer Melvin Manhoff, the quiet American faces the most decorated submission fighter of his career. Of his 6 losses, 3 have come by way of tap-out, and if he doesn't avoid the ground game of the Brazilian, it could spell disaster. But if he can fight upright and exploit Jacare's stand-up skills, we could see a new middleweight champion.
Another title up for grabs on Saturday night. Ronaldo Jacare Souza defending against Robbie Lawler. Lawler, I thought without question, earning this title shot after an emphatic knockout of Matt Lindland in December. I think Lindland is still laying down in San Jose. An incredible win for Robbie Lawler to cap off 2010.
And many people still consider Robbie Lawler one of the top middleweights in the world. Stylistically, he has a great matchup here with Jacare. Jacare improving in his stand-up game, and obviously Jacare known for his ground game. Lawler, a sprawl and brawler with knockout power in each one of his hands, and I think that's going to be the difference. If Lawler can stop the takedowns and stop Jacare from pulling guard, I think he can become victorious in this match. But don't count Jacare out. This guy has skills in all areas, especially his stand-up game, which is constantly evolving, and I think we'll see a very, very hot and explosive Brazilian on Saturday.
And we have seen that evolution for Jacare standing. But for Lawler, here's a guy who everyone talks about his wrestling, but has shown incredible takedown ability, and taking him down, much easier said than done.
Yeah, it's 100%. I think you have to use your hands to set up the takedown, and I think that's what it's going to come down to on Saturday.
So your prediction here heading into Saturday night?
Again, I have no idea. I think it's a very, very close fight. And again, it's stylistically, if Lawler can keep it standing, I think he can get the knockout. But if Jacare goes down to the floor, we've seen that Robbie Lawler has been susceptible to the submission. And Jacare, no doubt about it, that he is one of the best submission fighters in the entire sport.
Former NFL star and Heisman Trophy winner Herschel Walker will make his sophomore mixed martial arts appearance Saturday night, meeting 4-1 40-year-old heavyweight Scott Carson, who has only fought once in the last 10 years. This fight was originally slated for December, but a cut sustained to Herschel Walker in training at AKA with teammate Daniel Cormier postponed the bout until this weekend. John, here's an exciting fight. Herschel Walker, his second appearance in the Strikeforce organization, is going to be taking on Scott Carson. And believe me, there was no one more concerned than me when this fight almost didn't take place in December. But thankfully, Strikeforce has managed to put this fight together, and Scott Carson will have his second fight in 10 years.
Yeah, what can you say about this fight? Clearly, it's just a showcase fight for Herschel Walker. He made his mixed martial arts debut not that long ago, and I think this is a guy that just wants to fight. He brings a lot of eyeballs to the Strikeforce organization, and based on his last fight, I think there was a lot of room for improvement. That shuffling around, I don't think Javier Mendez is going to be happy about his performance, and I'd like to see the evolution of this guy and see how far he can take it.
I just see the value of Herschel Walker being someone that, if Strikeforce can make the jump to CBS, he's a great crossover personality. If this fight was taking place as the NFL playoffs are going on CBS, it's a great tie-in. But for Showtime, I think you're getting the diehards who I don't think are going to get a lot out of watching this fight.
I agree. I mean, it's a fun fight because you get to see the super athlete who's dedicated to mixed martial arts training at one of the best facilities in the entire sport. So who knows? It's hard to break down a fight when a guy only has one fight under his belt.
Let's not underestimate, though, how entertaining this fight could be. Everyone knows WEC has put on some of the greatest fights in history, and here we have Scott Carson, who was a part of WEC 1 when I was finishing 11th grade in June of 2001. A 4-1 fighter, and I am definitely picking Scott Carson here.
Yeah, I'm not. I think Herschel Walker training with too many good guys, and I think you'll see Herschel Walker probably stop Carson somewhere in the second round.
Rounding out the card this Saturday night in San Jose is a light heavyweight contest with 3-0 Roger Gracie, a 10-time World Jiu-Jitsu champion, taking on well-traveled veteran Trevor Prangley, who enters this fight with a record of 23-6-1. Gracie moved down to 205 pounds in his Strikeforce debut last May and earned a submission victory over Kevin Randleman. Prangley last fought for Strikeforce in June of 2010 as a middleweight, where he was submitted by Tim Kennedy in the first round.
There are high expectations and big shoes to fill if you're a fighter and your last name is Gracie.
People think we're arrogant. No, it's like, hey, I say my style is the best, you say your style is the best. There's only one way to find out. Let's get in the ring and do it. Man, we got enough Gracies for the next 50 years.
Roger Gracie is a member of the first family of martial arts and MMA royalty, awarded his black belt under Renzo Gracie by command of Carlos Gracie Jr. The 29-year-old has gone on to hold titles at the ADCC Championships and is a 10-time Mundial champion. As a result, he's considered to be one of the best and most dangerous jiu-jitsu players on the planet. In 2006, the Gracie Baja pupil made his first foray into the sport his family popularized when he took on super heavyweight Ron Waterman.
Look at him switching the hips, going for armbar once again. It's locked. It's locked.
Gracie 2.0 continued his winning ways with back-to-back rear naked chokes on two MMA veterans, Yuki Kondo and the aggressive NCAA Division I wrestler and former UFC heavyweight champion Kevin Randleman.
He got it under now. He got it. Kevin Randleman taps.
Thus far, with 3 consecutive wins, the second-degree Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt has done well in representing the next generation of Gracies. In his second fight at light heavyweight, the Brazilian takes on his most difficult challenge in Trevor Prangley. At 38 years of age, the Cape Town native still possesses a threat and is a difficult test for anyone in the division.
Prangley's punching power looks to have improved since the last time he fought.
Prangley showing good hips here. Very powerful.
Wizard takedown. Wow!
Training out of the American Kickboxing Academy, this NCAA Division I wrestler is coming off of a win over Keith Jardine and previously dropped only 1 loss in 7 fights. Despite his wrestling background, the gritty, well-rounded veteran arms himself with an arsenal of slick submissions.
Joe.
Well, he's
And he
gonna
taps.
he is. He
It's
taps.
over.
Though Gracie has an advantage on the mat, Prangley possesses a competent submission game that could allow him to escape Gracie's clutches. While Roger Gracie looks to continue his unbeaten streak and become the man to preserve his family's name, the aging South African aims for a win in hopes of becoming a title contender one more time.
John, the card rounds out with a light heavyweight bout as Trevor Prangley takes on Roger Gracie. Gracie last fought with the Strikeforce organization in 2010, his first MMA bout in 2 years. His stand-up looking very shaky in that fight. What do you expect in this fight in terms of an improvement?
Well, you talk about a stand-up game. Hopefully he's had some improvement because I think that's where the fight's going to take place. Trevor Prangley, Division I wrestler, trains at American Kickboxing Academy. You know his skills are all there, and he's an intelligent fighter. He knows this is what he's meant to do. He's got a wife, some kids. He has to go in there and get the victory, and the way to do that, avoid the submission game of Roger Gracie, keep the fight standing, and punish the Brazilian with his boxing.
What are the specifics you're looking for from Gracie this Saturday night?
I think he has to cut off angles, use his size to get in close on Trevor Prangley, and try to get this fight down to the ground whatever way he can, whether that's pulling guard and then going for the sweep and ending up on top, because if you are on the ground with a guy of Roger Gracie's submission level, you're in tough, and I don't think anybody in the world will be able to stop that submission if you're on the ground with him.
And your prediction for Saturday night, does Roger Gracie improve to 4-0?
No, I don't think so. I think Prangley always throws a wrench into everybody's game plan. I think he'll be able to use that wrestling, and I think he'll probably take Roger Gracie out with his boxing probably in the second or third round.
Well, there you go, everybody. Strikeforce, Diaz versus Cyborg is coming up this Saturday night. 3 exciting fights and one very entertaining one for some people if you're a fan of Herschel Walker. It's coming up this Saturday night from San Jose, California. On behalf of our entire crew here at the Fight Network, our friends here at Extreme Couture Toronto, he's John Ramdine, I'm John Pollock. Enjoy the fights on Saturday night.